President Xi Jinping will visit South Korea next week for the APEC summit, but Beijing has yet to confirm a meeting between Chinese and U.S. leaders. In Hong Kong, removal of the freighter wreckage commences, estimated to take 2 days, while the probe may take up to a year. And starting next month, 800,000 residents from designated vulnerable groups are set to enjoy prioritized public outpatient service under a new pilot scheme. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Evelyn Bai. Beijing announced that President Xi Jinping will visit South Korea from next Thursday to Saturday to attend the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. Meanwhile, the White House said U.S. President Donald Trump will hold bilateral talks with Xi next Thursday on the sidelines of APEC. Jamie Liu reports.
Bolstering prospects of a leaders' summit, Beijing said it was in close contact with Washington on the matter and will promptly release any new details. This came after the White House announced that Trump would meet Xi in a bilateral meeting next Thursday morning in South Korea. If confirmed, the encounter would be the first in-person meeting between both leaders since 2019, when they last met during the G20 summit in Japan. Ahead of the potential sit-down, Trump accused China of using Venezuela as a transit point for fentanyl, evading U.S. and Mexican port controls. He said the top agenda item of his discussion with Xi is fentanyl, a synthetic opioid linked to many drug overdose deaths in the U.S.
The first question I'm going to be asking him about is fentanyl. They make $100 million selling fentanyl into our country, $100 million. They lose $100 billion with the 20% tariff. So it's not a good business proposition.
In a move that could result in more tariffs and tensions, the U.S. reportedly plans to open a so-called Section 301 probe into China. According to the New York Times, Washington would look into whether Beijing has upheld a trade deal signed during Trump's first term in 2020. Back then, China promised to buy an additional $200 billion worth of American goods and services, including natural gas, soybeans, and aeroplanes. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
Salvage efforts for the cargo plane that veered off course and plunged into the sea off the airport's north runway earlier this week have begun. Veteran engineers predict it would take 2 days of preparation before the actual removal work can start. Shiro Yun tells us more.
The 2 salvage vessels sent from Guangzhou took up positions in the waters close to the wreckage site. Vessel Nan Tianxiang recovered pieces of the aircraft from the waters, including its engine, with which the outer casing was visibly damaged from the impact, and also lifted its wheels and landing gear. The other vessel, Nan Tianpeng, retrieved other components, including what appeared to be cargo boxes. The engineering crew deployed ropes at the tail section to prepare for lifting larger debris. Taking to the airwaves, Luis Cito, former chairman of the Mechanical, Marine, Naval Architecture and Chemical Division at the Hong Kong Institute of Engineers, said lifting the main wreckage demands extreme caution and also depends on the weather and tide phases. Cito added that the risk assessment and final positioning of the tow straps will take at least 2 days to complete. Speaking on the same show, Warren Chim, deputy chairman of the institution's aircraft division, said according to international standards, investigators have to submit a preliminary report within 30 days, with full analysis required within a year. He noted that recovery of the black boxes is a top priority, including the cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorder. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
To make it easier for vulnerable residents to consult doctors, the hospital authority will reserve some outpatient clinic appointments starting November 4th. Under the pilot scheme, 30% of slots will be set aside for prioritized groups to seek treatment for common illnesses, such as flu and infectious diarrhea. Jamie Liu has more.
Under the new pilot scheme, 4 groups totaling 800,000 people are eligible for the priority service. They include recipients of the Comprehensive Social Security Assistance, beneficiaries of the Old Age Living Allowance aged 75 or above, fully subsidized holders of the Elderly Residential Care Service voucher, and those supported by the Working Family Allowance.
That's the people of underprivileged or low income. Usually they will have a lower health awareness, and also the risk of suffering chronic disease or other serious disease are much higher than the general public. With this regards, we shall put more effort to drive more our service to encourage them to have a higher health awareness, as well as to early detection of chronic disease.
The priority scheme is in line with the government's plans to reform community-based primary health care services. To use the service, eligible residents have to register with the pilot scheme and as member of the district health center. Bookings are made through the eHealth mobile application. Authorities stress that unused priority slots would be offered to the general public to avoid wasting resources. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
As the nomination period of the Legislative Council election opened today, at least 18 hopefuls have signed up for the race. Political parties held rallies to boost morale, including the Democratic Alliance for the Betterment and Progress of Hong Kong, which is fielding 26 politicians. The Hong Kong Federation of Trade Unions will send 16 members to vie for legislative seats. As hopefuls begin registering for December's election, one of the spotlights is on the 20-seat geographical constituencies that are returned through direct elections. Competition is expected in Kowloon Central, as at least 4 people have announced they will contest for the 2 seats, including 2 Wong Tai Sin district councillors. Several legislators seeking re-election in the 30-seat functional constituencies and 40-seat election committee constituencies also submitted their nomination forms on day 1. The nomination period will run until November 6th, with polling to take place on December 7th. Russian President Vladimir Putin brushed aside U.S. sanctions on Russia's 2 largest oil exporters, saying they will not significantly impact the Russian economy. Meanwhile, reports indicated that China and India, 2 major buyers of Russian oil, will suspend their crude imports. Speaking to reporters in Moscow, Putin said the new sanction is an attempt to exert pressure on Russia, describing them as an unfriendly act that does not help strengthen the U.S.-Russian bilateral relations. Putin remained defiant on its potential impact on the Russian economy, adding that it will lead to a sharp increase in global oil prices, and the U.S. is no exception to suffer. Oil prices spiked more than 5% on Thursday, reaching a 2-week high. Meanwhile, Putin blamed his U.S. counterpart for abruptly postponing a meeting between them, saying that such high-level talks should be well prepared and not taken lightly, reaffirming continued dialogue. The U.S. Treasury Department earlier announced sanctions against Rosneft and Lukoil, together account for nearly 50% of Russia's oil exports, citing Russia's lack of serious commitment to a peace process to end the war in Ukraine. The department also threatened secondary sanctions against foreign financial institutions that deal with the sanctioned firms, triggering potentially internal risk assessments from Russian major oil buyers, including China, India, and Turkey. Reuters reported that India plans to significantly cut their Russian crude imports, while several Chinese state-owned oil companies will temporarily halt purchases of crude oil. In a major NBA scandal, more than 30 people, including big-name coaches and players, have been arrested over alleged illegal sports betting and mafia-linked poker scams. Cheryl Yun reports.
Portland Trail Blazers coach Chauncey Billups was charged with participating in a mob-run conspiracy that used his fame to lure high rollers into high-stakes card games, scamming gamblers out of at least $7 million. Prosecutors said the operation used high-tech tricks, including special contact lenses and glasses that could read pre-marked cards, X-ray tables, and hidden cameras feeding data to off-site spotters. The gang also enforced debts with beatings and extortion. Another high-profile defendant, Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, faced charges for allegedly fixing 7 games in the 2023-24 season, using insider information on injuries and team form to rig bets. In March 2023, Rozier allegedly tipped off a friend he would leave the game early due to a foot injury. The friend made a bet of $200,000 on his poor performances and netted a big payout after he played just 10 minutes before exiting. The FBI's multi-year investigation led to raids across 11 states, charging over 30 suspects with money laundering, extortion, and wire fraud.
The fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation.
The NBA has placed both Billups and Rozier on immediate leave. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
Wild new footage has revealed how the thieves who stole priceless crown jewels from the Louvre made a slow getaway on a mobile lift in front of unsuspecting Parisians and tourists. Separately, another museum theft came to light as a small museum in northeastern France was robbed of 90,000 euros worth of ancient coins on the same day as the Louvre heist. Beth Leung reports.
Okay, merci.
The 30-second footage, verified by French media for its authenticity, captured 2 of the suspects, one in a yellow vest and another wearing a motorcycle helmet, slowly descending in the basket lift from the balcony of the Apollo Gallery in brazen daylight. Someone was heard on what sounds like a walkie-talkie saying in French that the gang was about to leave on scooters. Meanwhile, 4 days after the heist, the jewels and the thieves remained unaccounted for. Authorities did not rule out museum staff being involved. They have retrieved video from about 4,500 cameras, together with some 38,000 interconnected cameras to look for leads. Meanwhile, investigators have found traces of DNA samples in a helmet and gloves abandoned by the 4 burglars. More security failures at French museums have surfaced since then. A small museum in Langres in northeastern France reported that hours after the Louvre burglary, which fell on a Monday when the institution was closed per operating schedule, about 2,000 gold and silver coins were stolen. Devoted to the 19th century French philosopher-writer Denis Diderot, the museum houses a collection of his personal trove, including the stolen coins dating from 1790 to 1840, estimated at around 90,000 euros, that's approximately 810,000 Hong Kong dollars. Beth Leung, Cable News.
Now let's take a look at the stock market. The Hang Seng Index ended the day up 192 points. Top active stocks of the day: Alibaba was up $3.70. Checker Fund was up 20 cents. Pop Mart was down $2. Meituan was up 60 cents. On to the weather now. Mainly cloudy, 1 or 2 light rain patches at first, dry with sunny intervals during the day tomorrow. Temperatures range between 23 and 28 degrees. Moderate north to northeasterly winds. That's our news tonight. I'm Evelyn Bai. Thanks for watching and good night.